Hello, guys, everyone. My name is Mo Morel, and I wanted to talk to you guys about something very important to me, and that's really, making its way across the country, across the world, into people's lives, and that is fibromyalgia. It is something that I suffer from, and there's so many misconceptions about it out there, and it's really annoying because people don't understand what it is. And because they don't understand what it is, they make up things about it and they don't believe in it, or there's just so much. So I wanted to do a series of videos that kind of explained what fibromyalgia is, to explain my story with fibromyalgia, the things that I go through, a lot of things that a lot of people in my support groups go through, and just so you can get an idea of what it really is, because I think people should know the truth from someone who has it versus listening to someone who doesn't have it. And so the first thing that I want to do is just introduce you to fibromyalgia, what it is, what it does to a person's body, who gets it, such and such. But first, let's start off with the pronunciation. So many people cannot pronounce this because it really is a very long word, and I believe it comes from a Greek word of some Greek Italian word or whatever the case may be that I can't pronounce. But it is fibromyalgia. When said really fast, fibromyalgia, the words just come together and they mull. So I always call it fibro. Whenever I'm talking to my friends or at the doc, I'm like, fibro. Or FMS, some people call it that. It is fibromyalgia syndrome. There are other little letters to use or whatever, but those are the two that if you can't say fibromyalgia, just say fibro or FMS. You totally get what you mean. Secondly, it is not a disease. So many people think that it is a disease, and it's not. It is a condition, a syndrome, a chronic disorder. A disease is an illness that is specific to either one area, one locale of the body, cancer, AIDS, lupus, things like that. And fibromyalgia is not a disease. It is a condition. More so, they like to call it a syndrome because it has so many different side effects and causes to the body. It's not one specific area. Fibro is all over the body. So you can't call it a disease because it's everywhere. So let's get that straight. It is a condition. You can call it a chronic pain condition. You can call it a chronic pain disorder. You can call it a disorder, or just a condition, but it is not a disease. It is not terminal. You cannot die from it. That's that. People that have a lot of other diseases, like I wrote it down because I couldn't remember it, but people who have rheumatic diseases, like I said, lupus, things like that, are likely to have fibro along with the diseases that they have, but it's possible to just have the condition itself. Like I just have the condition itself. I don't have any other kind of diseases. I'm possibly going to get arthritis in the future, but as of now, I'm in the clear, so that's a thumbs up. Yay. And wanted to talk to you about common symptoms. One of the biggest, I should say, headaches about fibro is it is everywhere in the body. There's not one specific place that a fibromyalgia patient doesn't feel pain. And just so we're aware, so you know, fibro is, like I said, it's a chronic pain condition. So it's all pain that you're feeling in specific areas of the body. Some people feel it over here on the right side more. Some people feel it on the left side more. It varies per person. But a lot of the common symptoms are sleep disturbances, sleep disorders. A lot of fibromyalgia patients have insomnia. I can never sleep, so there's a lot of sleep aids being taken. Cognitive memory loss, which we call fibro fog. So if you ever heard someone say, I'm dealing with fibro fog today, it is just memory loss. And you may be like, yeah, whatever, but it can be pretty serious when I keep notes around the house all the time because I forget the smallest things that I'm like, I'll go to the grocery store and I just got there half an hour and I forgot the entire list. So it is like having a normal memory lapse, but fibro fog for some can be a lot serious to where they forget basic things and it causes a disturbance in their everyday life. So it can get pretty serious. Lucky for me, I forget small things that with a little note in my purse or a little pondering I can remember. Morning stiffness. This is probably for me one of the worst of the side effects because morning stiffness means you wake up and you feel like a big old log. You just can't move. I'm going to go into the symptoms and things a lot later in other videos, so I'm not going to touch too much on each one, but I will definitely like delve deeper into them and let you know exactly what they do and what we feel. But like I said, this is just an introduction. So the morning stiffness, you get headaches. Migraines are very, very common. And no matter how many medications you take, sometimes it just doesn't help. Irritable bowel syndrome, a lot of people suffer from IBS with it. Painful menstruation, that is something that I'll add into my story portion, but being that 90% of women are affected by fibromyalgia, some men and children, we do get the painful menstruals, and it is brutal. I'll tell you guys what happened to me with that. And restless leg syndrome. No, it's a very odd thing to feel in the legs. Numbing and tingling of the extremities. This is a really weird one because sometimes it's caused by the different medications you take and sometimes it's just by muscle spasms in general. So I'll go into detail about that, but it is exactly what it is, numbing and tingling of the extremities. Temperature sensitivity. A lot of fibromyalgia patients feel better in the summer, some feel better in the winter. I think I feel better in the winter than I do in the summer. The heat doesn't do much justice for me, and I know there are a lot of people in my support groups that heat affects them a lot more than the cold does, but it's vice versa. It depends on the person. Some people may feel better in the cold, some people may feel better in the heat. Sensitivity to loud noises and bright lights. I'm not sensitive to loud noises, but bright lights can be a big problem for me some days, especially going to school. So it's all about wearing sunglasses or taking my contacts out, as that makes it even more sensitive. Some of the symptoms that I've discovered that also a lot of my fellow fibromyalgia patients have is skin sensitivity. We all have a basic sensitive level all over, but skin sensitivity to doing something like this will cause pain. For me in that area, it doesn't. Go on the back of my neck and press a little harder, pain. Skin sensitivity is scratching. You have an itch, you scratch, you can either get bruised or the pain will last for about 30 seconds before it subsides. So sometimes scratching can be a big problem. For me, I have very intense skin sensitivity, so if someone was to like poke me plain, I'd probably slap the shit out of them. It'll really hurt, and it's taken my friends a very long time to understand that I'm not joking when I say that. So they no longer poke me or stuff like that. Like I said, it's mostly 90% of women. 90% of people who get fibromyalgia is women. One of some few facts about it is 5 million Americans have it. So unfortunately it's growing, and I really wish it wasn't. I really wish they could find a cure for it, but there is no cure for it. It is chronic, so it's long lasting, could be lifelong. There's no set known reason, and that's one of the things that makes fibromyalgia very difficult to diagnose and to treat. Because the causes are unknown, you go to the doctor, and the process can take up to a year to 2 years to be diagnosed. I believe it took me a year and a half before I was properly diagnosed. And mine came from a traumatic event. It can come from a traumatic event or stress. And I was in a minor car accident. And a few weeks later, I started exhibiting symptoms. And I didn't think anything of it. Went to the doc. Yeah. And a year later, after numerous tests, they have to test you for everything to rule out arthritis, lupus, cancer, AIDS, internal diseases, things you've never heard of. They have to test you on everything. And once they've tested you on everything, there's a, what is it called? A tender point test that they do. And it's 11. You have to have 11 of, like, I don't know, sometimes it's 17, sometimes it's 21 tender points. And what that is areas that almost every fibromyalgia patient feels pain in. Although they feel pain everywhere else, these 11 plus tender points are what every fibromyalgia patient feels pain. And I'll show you some of them. I'll do both sides. I have a thing on my arm. I'll explain that. Here, I do feel pain. Here, back here on the same spots. Sometimes it's under the arm here, on the elbow here, on the back, the lower back, the top of your thighs, in the middle of your calves, and I believe somewhere in your ankles, and the back of your neck there. Basically, those are places where every fibromyalgia patient will feel pain, regardless of who you are. You will feel pain in those areas, and that is when the doctor knows that you have fibro. To treat it is very difficult because so many people experience different symptoms. And again, in later videos, I'll go over my symptoms, my treatments, and then discuss other people's that I've heard of treatments and how it varies. A few of the things that people must take, and I can never pronounce this right, analgesics. If I got that wrong, it's like fibro to the tongue. There's so many different kinds, so that's just one medication that they can take. NSAIDs, non-steroid anti-inflammatory medicines. That's another. Antidepressants. So many kinds of those. Benzodiazepines. There are a lot of different peens, as I like to say, and a lot of other medications. I at one time was taking 8 different medications. I'll discuss that later. And researchers right now are just trying to understand pain because that's what it is. They think that it's related to the way our genes process the pain stimuli. Some of them say that it's hereditary, although no one in my family that I know of thus far has it. And like I said, I know what mine was caused from. So basically, that is an introduction to fibromyalgia. And my hopes for these videos that I'll be doing is just to get you to understand what fibromyalgia is. There's so many people that do not believe in fibromyalgia, which weirds me out a little. You have even doctors who don't respect the condition. And, not having people believe in it, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but that's what it is. A lot of people don't believe in it because they say you don't look sick. I guess if you're looking at me on the video, you're probably thinking, well, she doesn't look sick. I hope you're thinking I don't look sick. If I look sick, goodness, I need to take better care of myself. But fibro is something that you cannot see. And so that leads people to believe that you're not sick. But just because you can't see something doesn't mean that it's not there. So hopefully these videos will help you. If you're new to fibro, understand it better. It will help you if you just never heard of it and saw the commercials and are like, what is it? It'll help you understand what it is. And it'll help those who have people in their family that they have to support with fibro to better understand it. So stay tuned. I'm going to try to put out videos over the week and get this done before class starts so you guys can really understand what this is. And hopefully it reaches a lot of people and you get a better understanding of what we suffer from. So until next time, adios.